Hi there. Glad you joined me on my website today. Hope you'll take a look at my new column. It's entitled Too Many Entitlements, or Is There Too Many Entitlements? I put a question mark. And I talked about the Democratic Party candidates for president. I watched the first forum, and it seemed like one candidate after the other was trying to overrun the other in terms of offering more entitlements to voters, to citizens in this country. And I'm talking specifically about, we talk about Medicare for all, and we certainly need to move towards coverage of every single individual. But many of us, I personally don't want to give up my private insurance that I pay for to be stuck in a one system fix all, or one solution fixes all, if you will. I have a relationship with my doctors. I want to keep those same doctors. I'm willing to pay out of my pocket to keep those same doctors. So we've got to confect a way to make it work to where you're not just standing in long lines like you do in Canada and other countries. It can work. In England, for example, and I went to school in England and took advantage of the system. You had the government insurance, something like Medicare, but you could buy extra coverage if you wanted to do so. We're kind of moving in that direction here. That's the case with Medicare in Louisiana today. Of course, it doesn't apply to your 65 years old. So there's a whole variety of solutions, but the Democratic solutions mean single payer. So this is what I've heard from most Democratic candidates. I don't like single payer. I want to have some control over the medical care that I get in this country. You have the debate going on about reparations, slave reparations. And it's a tremendous blight on our country and a tremendous problem. But is it fair to tax those who, many of their relatives didn't even get here until years after the Civil War? They're paying for reparations in which they had no blame, no involvement, neither did their families. So it's a tough issue. And I don't think most Americans want to go along with something like those. Those are two of the key issues that we've heard so much about. Student loan forgiveness. You know how you pay, you know how you, when someone has a student loan, you know how you deal with it if they get a student loan program. You tell them you made the loan, you pay it. And I'm not trying to be bitter about this or put down those who struggle for their education. I borrowed about $60,000 to get me through Tulane Law School back in 1963 and 64. Now, you can imagine what that amount would be today. It would be double or triple of the value then. So let's assume I carried a debt of today's dollars, $150,000. I paid that loan off over 10 years. I was a state senator for 4 or 5 years before I paid off my student loan. The governor of Louisiana just paid off his student loan a few months ago. He's the governor of the state. So you make a deal, you live by the deal. And I know that, and again, you get the same argument that you've got a blue-collar worker out there that didn't go to college, is struggling to take care of his family. Now he's being asked to pay more tax dollars for forgiveness of student loans. If you can't afford to go to a top-flight private school, maybe you go to a junior college and you work a little bit too. I was up in North Carolina last week, and we have a family home up there. Talking to some of the folks up there. Now, there are 3 colleges, including Appalachian State, that has about 30 or 40,000 students, I'm told, and several other colleges. And one of the businesses up there was complaining couldn't get anybody to apply for jobs. Kids just didn't want to go to work. According to him, borrowing the student loans, pay for the car with the student loans, pay for a top-light cell phone, $1,000 cell phone with the student loans, maybe take off for the summer, don't really work in the summer. You can keep those loans going for 6 or 7 years. Then you scream, oh my gosh, I got this huge debt out there. My point is, you've got all these entitlements, and that we've got to bring some common sense on when it comes to taxpayers, what we spend. Most of us didn't have those entitlements going back over the years. We worked hard, we paid off our debt, and we dealt with the issues to take care of our family. That's not the case with many of these kids today. So I share that perspective with you. And from the Democrat perspective, if I can give you a little free advice, you're painting yourself into a corner on most of these issues. Americans are not that sympathetic. And so if you push that agenda, you're playing right into the hands of the Republicans. And I'm sure the Republicans right now, if they saw that debate here a week or two ago, are high-fiving each other. So there's got to be a middle ground that appeals to a cross-section of Americans who are hardworking, trying to make ends meet, want to pay their fair share, but don't want to go overboard. And I think that's what the Democratic Party is heading right now. I'll give you some more comments on this as the campaign progresses. Glad you joined me in my site today. Take care.